Have you noticed this? Something massive is happening in 2025, and almost nobody's talking about it. Canadians are quietly turning their backs on American brands. And they're not doing it out of anger or impulse, they're doing it because of harsh tariffs, broken trade policies, and what many see as political arrogance from Washington. In this report, we'll take a hard look at 6 American products Canadians have abandoned, some predictable, others completely surprising. And if you miss the last one, you'll miss the clearest clue about the shift in economic power that's quietly reshaping the US-Canada relationship. Because if even America's closest neighbor is saying goodbye, who might be next? It might sound trivial, but it's anything but. In 2025, peanut butter became a quiet symbol of protest in Canada. Not because of price or shortages, but because of principle. American pantry staples like Jif and Skippy have all but disappeared from Canadian grocery shelves. According to Retail Monitor Canada, sales of US peanut butter dropped 34% in just one quarter. Major supermarkets rushed to replace them with local brands like Kraft, Nuts to You, and All Good Natural. Shoppers weren't boycotting peanut butter, they were boycotting American arrogance. Social media hashtags like #SpreadCanadian and #PeanutPride flooded Instagram and TikTok. Parents began packing Canadian spreads into kids' lunches, while some schools encouraged it as both a lesson in pride and consumer choice. The impact? Immediate. Peanut farms and processing plants in Georgia and Arkansas saw shipments to Canada stop cold. Warehouses overflowed, trucks sat idle, and factory workers had hours slashed. A once reliable export suddenly turned into a burden, all because Canadians quietly closed the lid. For decades, Harley-Davidson was more than a motorcycle in Canada, it was a lifestyle. Freedom, rebellion, and a proud symbol of American craftsmanship. But by 2025, that roar went silent. When Ottawa slapped a 20% tariff on US motorcycles, Harley sales plunged 46% in the first half of the year. Dealerships once buzzing with orders now sit empty. In Toronto, a Harley shop closed after 22 years. And the reaction isn't just about price, it's about respect. Biker clubs once draped in American flags now ride Triumphs, Yamahas, and BMWs. A longtime rider in Calgary summed it up: "I love the bike, but I can't ride a brand tied to a country that disrespects mine." Factories in Wisconsin and Missouri felt it immediately, production lines slowed, suppliers lost contracts, and spare parts piled up. Harley didn't start this trade fight, but in Canada, it became the face of it. Amazon, once untouchable in Canada, is now crumbling under consumer backlash. Prime shipping, endless products, convenience, it was everywhere. Until 2025. Trade tensions made Amazon a symbol of American indifference. It said nothing, did nothing, as tariffs and customs delays frustrated Canadians. The result? Cross-border orders collapsed 39% in Q2, and more than 110,000 Prime accounts were cancelled in just 3 months. Online, movements like #CancelPrimeCanada and #BuyLocalA spread fast. Shoppers shifted to Canadian Tire, Indigo, Simons, and smaller local e-commerce platforms. A Montreal customer put it plainly: "Why should I give money to a company that won't even defend us?" The fallout spread back south. US fulfillment centers grew quiet, expansion projects froze, and hiring stalled. Amazon learned the hard way. It wasn't speed or selection that built loyalty, it was trust. And trust had been lost. Even Netflix wasn't safe. Once inseparable from Canadian family life, Netflix suddenly found itself losing ground. Not because of content or price, but because of silence. As American brands came under fire, Netflix stayed quiet. No statement, no acknowledgement of Canadian frustration. That silence cost them dearly. Streaming Insights reported Netflix lost over 520,000 Canadian subscribers in a single quarter, a record collapse. Movements like #StreamCanadian and #BoycottNetflix surged. Viewers switched to Crave, CBC Gem, and even BritBox. When Netflix scrambled to add more Canadian originals, it was too late. Trust was gone, and in California, studios, production crews, and advertisers all felt the sting. Netflix had money, content, and reach, but in 2025, the rarest commodity was trust, and Canada had withdrawn it. Even Walmart, a retail giant deeply rooted in Canada, couldn't escape the shift. Stores remained open, but shopping carts told the story. Sales of Walmart's US-sourced private labels, Great Value, Equate, George, dropped 29% since March. In provinces like Alberta and Ontario, entire sections once filled with American frozen foods and household goods were quietly replaced by Canadian alternatives. Leaked internal documents revealed Walmart Canada had even been instructed to reduce US-sourced goods. The result, US factories in Arkansas, Georgia, and North Carolina supplying Walmart saw orders cut, contracts slashed, and shifts eliminated. Canadians weren't rejecting Walmart itself, they were rejecting Made in USA. For generations, Ford and GM trucks were part of Canadian identity. From farms in Alberta to city streets in Toronto, F-150s and Silverados were everywhere. But in 2025, when Washington imposed tariffs on Canadian aluminum and lumber, Ottawa retaliated with a 20% tariff on American cars and trucks. That love affair ended overnight. Auto Trader Canada reports searches for Ford and GM dropped 31% in just 3 months. Showrooms emptied as customers asked, "Do you have a non-American option?" Toyota, Hyundai, and Honda filled the gap. In Detroit and Toledo, the fallout was brutal. Unsold vehicles stacked up, production slowed, suppliers shut lines, and workers faced layoffs. Entire towns built on the auto industry were suddenly staring at an economic war, all because Canadians quietly turned the key off. From peanut butter jars to motorcycles, streaming apps to pickup trucks, the message is the same: Canada isn't making noise, staging protests, or shouting across borders. Instead, they're sending a quieter, sharper message, through the choices in their shopping carts. When trust breaks, even the most iconic American brands can fall. And in 2025, Canadians are showing that in a silent trade war, the most powerful weapon isn't tariffs or sanctions, it's the consumer's choice to simply walk away. This is True Estate Report. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.